The solution is to take back control and sovereignty over your own reward mechanism and to make it intrinsic, completely intrinsic, such that you give yourself the satisfaction, the love, the praise, the approval that you want. Now, I'm going to explain this in a lot more detail here, but even as I just say that, already your mind might be objecting and resisting, because in a sense what I'm doing is I'm trying to get your mind to short circuit its reward mechanisms. You've built this extrinsic circuit, which means that I got to do stuff in the world. Stuff has to happen in the outer world. I have to see it happen. It has to match my own standards. And if that happens, then I can allow myself to feel happy. This is true whether you're pursuing business success or sexual conquests or some sort of valuation of the stock of your company that you're trying to hit, or whether you're, a woman in an intimate relationship trying to please your husband or your children. It's all the same thing, structurally speaking. The content is different, but the structure is all the same, right? These extrinsic reward cycles. And so the solution is to just short circuit that entire thing and to just directly go to giving yourself the happiness and love that you want. This is so counterintuitive that I know that when I first heard about this idea, when I first got into self-help over a decade ago, my mind would kind of balk at this idea that I would give myself happiness. I remember I would say to myself, so I was driving in the car and I heard this idea and I would say to myself something like, well, yeah, sure, of course, I can kind of bullshit myself into feeling happy and giving myself rewards, but it's not the same thing as getting an actual external objective reward. It's just like this self-help, new agey sort of bullshit where I'm just kind of like doing positive thinking to make myself feel good, but it's not the real happiness, because the real happiness depends on some external condition being met, like X amount of dollars in my bank account, or the kind of sex I'm having, or the kind of people I'm actually serving out there. And so what happens is that we can feel guilty giving ourselves the love and the satisfaction that we want, because we feel like it almost feels like you're cheating when you're doing this. And in a sense, you are. I'm basically telling you how to cheat in life and cut out all of that external shit that you do that doesn't need to be done in order to feel happy and to feel satisfied and to feel loved. But your mind, if it was growing up in a survival situation where you had to, in order to survive, you had to please other people in your family, at school, your authority figures, adults, at church, and so forth. After 20 years of living like that, the idea that you can just be giving yourself happiness and approval directly without any kind of other in the way, without any middlemen, this starts to seem like it's crazy. It starts to feel like it's cheating, like it's unfair, and that it's sort of like it's almost too easy. Leo, it's too easy. I like going out there and working hard to get my little dog treat, whatever that is for you, money, sex, approval, love. See? But consider that there's actually something very deep that you're fundamentally missing here. Is that just like I've talked about in my episode, How Authority Works, I've explained how you give away your sovereignty and your authority to others in terms of what is true and what is not true. You look up to authority figures to tell you what is true, to validate for you what is true, rather than going inside and internally, sovereignly telling yourself what is true. Well, the same sort of thing happens with satisfaction and with happiness and with love. You've given away your sovereignty to other people, to various kinds of authority figures, and now you're not really able to be satisfied because you're looking for other people to satisfy you. And you've developed these deeply ingrained habits of working hard, bending over backwards, being a doormat in order to satisfy others. And you've turn this into an aspect of your ego where your ego enjoys being selfless and good, or it has this image of being hardworking. Whatever image sort of you have that aligns with this, such that that image now, in order to satisfy that image, you have to constantly be working and working and working to be happy and to be satisfied or to feel love. So in your mind, maybe you think like, well, I can't feel love unless I'm selfless towards others and doing good stuff for others. Otherwise, it would be cheating, and then you might even feel guilty for allowing yourself to feel love for sort of like no reason at all. You've invented reasons. You've invented standards for what is necessary for you to feel love or to feel like you deserve to be loved. You've done the same thing with your career success too. A lot of people won't allow themselves to be satisfied or to actually enjoy their career because to them, if they're satisfied, well, then that's going to mean that I don't work so hard. And if I don't work so hard, I'm not going to reach that next milestone. And if I don't reach that next milestone, whatever that is, if my company's not going to be worth $50 million, if I'm going to be satisfied that my company's only worth $10 million, then I'm never going to reach $50 million. It kind of works like that. Of course, the problem is that once your company does reach 50 million, you're still not going to be satisfied. Then you're going to want 100 million and then a billion. And where does it end? It doesn't end. That's the problem. Same thing with satisfying other humans. No matter how many nice things you do for your clients or for your husband or for your children, you're never going to be deeply satisfied by that. And so you're going to be caught in this trap of constantly struggling every day to get a little bit of that drug of approval, of satisfaction, of gratitude, of thanks from others. Maybe you've developed this habit that you only feel love and happiness when somebody else thanks you. And then if that's sort of a standard you've set for yourself in your mind, and you can only feel good about yourself when other people tell you that you're a good person. Now, what does that mean? That means now you have to be a slave for the rest of your life to serving others, bending over backwards for others, and then collecting their thanks. And when they don't give you the thanks you think you deserve because you work hard, but they are ingrates and they take it for granted, they don't give you the thanks. They don't give you sort of the praise you think you deserve for working hard or for being so selfless. That makes you bitter inside, because you've been denied the reward. You're like a dog who jumped through a hoop, but then the master was looking the other way, didn't see it, and didn't give you a treat. And now you're upset at the master. See? So can you see that this is not a very intelligent situation that you've placed yourself in? Wouldn't it be much nicer if you can take back your sovereignty and control and actually take full responsibility of the reward mechanisms that are in your mind that are used to make you happy and to satisfy yourself, to take control of those and to not allow other people any control over that, and to be your own master. Give yourself the treats. This would be a very interesting twist on the situation. This would be kind of a going of a full circle. This would be sort of like a non-dual approach to happiness. Whereas before you were stuck in the dual approach. The dual approach is that there's a self, there's an other, and the way that I, as a self, become happy is by doing stuff for the other. The other is responsible for making me happy. Now, that other could be a person, a family member, a lover, or even an animal, like a pet of yours, or it could even be an institution you work for, or something like that. But what if you integrated that other into yourself, which is sort of like what you're doing when you're practicing non-duality, because you're realizing everything is one, you're breaking down the boundaries between self and other. So if you break down the boundary between self and other, one of the things that allows you to do is to recognize that, wait a minute, why have I been being so foolish? Why don't I just give myself the treats